Your Excellency, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, you are here in United Nations to participate in the 7th session of the General Assembly. Just before the session opens tomorrow, you have also witnessed the launch of the Sustainable Development Goals, which are to a very large extent in line with the African Union Agenda 2063. What are your overall assessment in terms of the launch of these Sustainable Development Goals?
Well, I think it's very good that the world has decided to look at sustainable development collectively. As you know, Africa has its own Agenda 2063, but we also had a common position on the Sustainable Development Goals, which we used as a negotiating platform for Africa. And indeed, most of the uh, goals are in line with what we want to do on the African continent. So we can see them as a subset of our Agenda 2063. And we think that collectively, if the global community committed its energies, its creativity, we can indeed uh, eradicate poverty. We can ensure that kids go to school. We can ensure that nobody goes hungry, nobody dies of diseases that are preventable or treatable. We can make sure that there is decent work for men and women, girls and young people. Um, we can also ensure that uh, the health services are available to all. We can look at maternal mortality and child mortality. So I think the goals, then goal number 5 looks specifically at gender issues. We also look at the cities. How do we make the cities more vibrant, more resilient, and environmentally friendly? And of course, I will not mention all the goals, but they are all very useful goals. Industrialization, for instance, is a very important one for Africa as well. And of course, we have to do all this bearing in mind that we have one planet and that all future generations have to live on this planet and they must find it a pleasant place to stay. So we have to look at how we develop further, but at the same time preserving this planet for future generations.
Thank you very much, Excellency. You mentioned goal number 5, which has to do with gender equality. And you've just participated in the session on gender equality and women's empowerment. And we know that the African Union dedicated this year as a year of women's empowerment towards and development towards Agenda 2063. Can you just share with the listeners what the African Union has been able to do so far?
Well, as you know, this year is 20 years after Beijing, and of course, the African continent participated very actively in Beijing. I had the honor to be there myself, leading my country's delegation. It was a historic conference, which was the 4th one, looking at women's issues, gender issues, but also women themselves participating. So 20 years on, the African Union decided to make this year the year of empowerment of women, but also as a way of assessing where we are from uh, where we were when we went to Beijing, where we are now, and where we want to go. Clearly, a lot of progress has been made since Beijing. For instance, there are 22 countries in Africa now that have 30% of women in parliament or more, led by Rwanda, which is at 63.8%, leading the world. But we also have 14 countries where more than 30% or more of ministers are women, led by Cabo Verde with 50-50. And there are lots of other areas where we've made progress. But there's lots more to be done. And so we are dedicating this year to women's empowerment, to looking at how to get women in decision making, not only in parliaments and governments, but in the corporations, to be CEOs, to be in boards, how to have women in the judiciary, in the academia, in all walks of life, really, in all areas of human endeavor. And also at the same time looking at how we can ensure that girls and boys go to school, encourage more girls to go to areas like science, technology, engineering, and maths, the STEM areas, looking at how to improve agriculture, because the majority of women still work in agriculture, how to modernize agriculture, bring in new technologies, how to get women to have land rights and also access to not only to technology but to finances, and into agro business and agro processing. So it's very important that we also look at the issues of girls staying at school as long as possible, not getting involved in early marriages. We want to see women getting more and more into business as business women. And of course, we also want to see women in the labor force getting the same salaries for the same amount of work and time as men. But more importantly, women must also feel safe. They must be protected both at home and in society, but also where there are conflicts, women must be part of the solutions. Actually, prevention of conflicts works better when women are involved. The peace lasts longer and is more enduring and sustainable if women are participating in the peace building, in the post-conflict reconstruction. So these are the things that we are looking at, but also ensuring that there is energy. Energy is very important for Africa's development, industrialization, but it's also important for women because it's the women who go around looking for firewood, and this will free their time so that they can do more productive work. Clean water near the home is also very useful for women because, again, they can do more productive work. And also social services, women are the ones who take care of the ill, so if health services are efficient, accessible, and nearby, it will help. But we also need civil registration and vital statistics because children have to be registered. We need to know our population for planning, for monitoring, for evaluation, but also women and children need to be part of the country's development, the country's plans. So these are the things that we are looking at just to mention a few on the continent.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for speaking to Afric Vision Network.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Enzo. This is Afric Vision Nouvelle. Brunch, Sunday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Thursday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Channel 69. Manhattan and New Jersey, Tuesday, 12:30 to 1 o'clock. Channel 67, 85, and 36. Brooklyn and Staten Island, Friday, 7 o'clock to 7:30. Channel 68, 79, and 43. Queens, Friday, 7 o'clock to 7:30. Channel 43. This is our website, www.avntv.net. Once more, www.avntv.net. Thank you.